Hello, and welcome to Code Viral. Today, we're looking at the heart of the AI revolution. On one side, we have the titans of technology, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, a fortress built on trillions of dollars and unprecedented computing power. On the other, a quiet, decentralized revolution, open source communities, agile startups, and a Cambrian explosion of new models. The result is what I call the AI stalemate. And it begs the trillion-dollar question, are the cheap, fast, and increasingly powerful open-source models about to kill big tech's monopoly? Look at these numbers. NVIDIA, a $4 trillion company. Over $100 billion of investment pouring into the U.S. AI ecosystem this year alone. The scale is almost incomprehensible. But the question remains, can this fortress, as formidable as it seems, be disrupted? Let's find out together. To understand the stalemate, we need to visualize the two opposing forces. On the left, we have the fortress. Look at this chart of market valuations. These aren't just companies. They are nation-states of capital. They've built deep moats of infrastructure, controlling everything from the silicon chips to the cloud platforms the models run on. But on the right, we have the revolution. And this chart tells a fascinating story. In early 2024, the performance gap between the best closed models, like GPT-4, and the best open source models was a significant 8%. Fast forward 1 year, and that gap has shrunk to less than 2%. This isn't just about better models anymore. This is about the fundamental structure of how AI will be built, distributed, and used for the next decade. First, let's walk the grounds of the incumbent's fortress. It's built on three immense pillars. The first is the compute, data, distribution triad. NVIDIA has a staggering 92% of the GPU market. Google and Microsoft process billions of data points daily. And their cloud platforms are the primary distribution channels. They control the entire supply chain. The second pillar is the frontier model arms race. Training a model like GPT-5 or Gemini 2 costs hundreds of millions of dollars. As this chart shows, the $75 billion that big tech is pouring into R&D dwarfs the entire startup ecosystem combined. This creates a barrier to entry that seems insurmountable. And finally, the enterprise moat. Large businesses don't just buy a model. They buy reliability, security, and integration. Microsoft embedding Copilot into every Office application is perhaps the most powerful distribution advantage we've ever seen in software. It creates incredibly high switching costs. But on the other side of the battlefield, a different strategy is unfolding. This is the challenger's gambit. Led by players like Meta with its powerful Llama models, and agile innovators like Mistral and DeepSeek, the focus isn't on building the biggest fortress, but on creating the most efficient tools. And this brings us to the core of their advantage, the economics of efficiency. Let's look at this comparison. To process 1 million tokens, that's about 750,000 words, GPT-4 will cost you $30. A self-hosted open model like Llama 3, 60 cents. That is a 50-fold cost reduction. And it's not just cheaper, it's often significantly faster for inference. When we look at the performance matrix, we see the story clearly. While closed models like Gemini 2.5 Pro still hold a slight edge in raw leaderboard scores, look at the cost efficiency column. Open models score a perfect 1.0. They've completely redefined the economic equation. So, with that context, let's build the case for disruption. First, as we've seen, the performance gap has nearly closed. For the vast majority of real-world business applications, the difference between the top open model and the top closed model is now functionally negligible. The monopoly on raw capability has been broken. Second, this has led to a Cambrian explosion of vertical AI. Because open models can be fine-tuned, we're seeing thousands of specialized solutions emerge. AI for healthcare diagnostics, for financial risk assessment, for industrial energy savings. These are applications where a general-purpose model simply can't compete with a domain-specific expert.
And third, there is an economic imperative for innovation. Startups can now build competitive AI products without needing hundreds of millions in funding just to get started. This is where things get interesting. I'm curious to know what you think. Are you already using open source models for your projects, or are you sticking with the big APIs? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to see how the community is approaching this. The key insight here is that value is shifting from the foundation model itself to the application built on top of it. But it's not that simple. To be balanced, we must acknowledge the sheer, unyielding power of the fortress. Let's look at the case for entrenchment. The first argument is the unbreachable resource wall. Google's AI budget for 1 year is more than double the funding for the entire global AI startup ecosystem. That level of spending creates a permanent capability gap at the absolute frontier of research. Second is the reality of enterprise lock-in. For a Fortune 500 company, a 5% performance boost is not worth the risk of a security breach or a system failure. They need accountability, seamless integration, and 24/7 support. They need someone to call when it breaks. That is what Microsoft and Google are selling. Making these kinds of strategic decisions is what separates successful developers and businesses from the rest. And if you're interested in navigating this complex landscape of technology, subscribing is a simple way to stay informed and support the channel. The reality check is this: big tech isn't just selling models. They're selling integrated, low-risk AI utilities. The fortress still stands. So, we have two powerful opposing forces: a revolution in efficiency and an unbreakable fortress of resources. Where does this leave us? The outcome isn't a simple victory. It's not disruption. It's a bifurcation. The AI market is splitting into two distinct yet symbiotic ecosystems. First, you have the utility layer. This is big tech's domain. They provide the massive general-purpose frontier models like AI electricity. Secure, reliable, and powerful. But then you have the appliance layer. This is the innovator's paradise. Startups and specialists take that AI electricity, often from powerful open source models, and build specialized appliances. Targeted, cost-effective solutions for every industry imaginable. So for startups, the strategy is clear. Compete on specialization, not scale. For enterprises, adopt a hybrid approach. And for investors, the real growth is shifting to that application layer. So here is the verdict. The monopoly isn't being killed, it's being contained and redefined. Big tech keeps the utility layer, but the explosion of innovation will happen in the appliance layer. The result is a strategic stalemate, where both ecosystems can thrive. Thank you for joining me on this analysis. If you found this breakdown useful, you'll definitely want to check out my playlist on the best free AI tools you can start using today. The link is right here on the screen. Until next time, keep building.